Hey guys, welcome to Priceless B Movies. So this is the second of 4 reviews that I'm attempting to put up all in one day, so bear with me here. Now this movie, in the 90s, especially in like kind of the mid to late 90s, there was this whole kind of idea where, you know, these independent studios who kind of missed out on the slasher craze of the 80s were still trying desperately to bring the slasher movie genre back. And we had so many dumb ideas for slasher films, you know, like Leprechaun. We had some good ideas for slasher films, like Candyman. But none of those franchises really hit the way that they should have, for whatever reason. You know, it's not like those are nearly as memorable as, you know, the Jasons or the Freddy Kruegers or the Michael Myers films. But this one has to be one of my favorites. I would have loved to have been a studio executive hearing the pitch for this movie. Well, okay, now here we go, right? We're gonna take Aladdin, right? The genie from Aladdin. We're gonna take Robin Williams. We're gonna take a character that a lot of people love, right? And then we're just gonna make him cut the fuck out of everybody. Wishmaster. So Wishmaster stars Tammy Lauren. Yeah, I have never really heard of her either outside of this movie. As Alexandra. Alexandra is a gemologist who works for a auction house, and she one day comes across this ruby, this gemstone, and, you know, while she's examining it to make sure it's, you know, pure and actually worth a whole lot of money, she ends up breathing on it, wiping it on her boobs, and this somehow summons a genie that lives inside the gemstone. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. The problem is this genie, or jinn as it's called in the film, this jinn is actually a demon, and while it grants people wishes, it always kind of pulls this monkey's paw bullshit, and so no matter what you wish for, no matter how great it might sound, he'll find a way to twist it and turn it into something horrible. One of my favorite examples has the djinn going up to a bouncer and trying to get inside into this party, and the bouncer won't let him in. And so the djinn goes, oh, well, you know, what if I could do something for you? And the djinn basically kind of manipulates this guy into admitting that he doesn't like his job and how, you know, he feels like he's a failure. And he gets the bouncer to say that he wishes he could escape to a more exciting profession. So the djinn basically puts him in a magician's water tank, and basically his new profession is he's an escape artist, whether he can actually escape from the tank or not. The djinn also really wants to track down Alexandra since she woke him from his eternal slumber. You know, this is kind of ridiculous and I'm trying to make it sound entertaining. But since she's the one who woke him, if he can get her to make 3 wishes, then he will be able to bring all the jinn, all the other demons, his whole race, his kind, to take over the world and bring hell on earth. And it's basically kind of what Pinhead was trying to do in Hellraiser, in so many of those Hellraiser sequels. Now, Wishmaster is notable for a couple reasons. One is that it was among the first films, to the best of my knowledge, to be directed by the person who was doing the visual effects, the makeup effects for the movie. The film is directed by Robert Kurtzman from K&B Studios. K&B, almost any horror movie made in the last 20 to 30 years that had awesome death scenes, and awesome slashings, awesome anything, K&B was probably behind it. They're definitely one of the most well-known makeup effects studios around. And in horror movies, it's a dime a dozen. It's like every other horror movie you can think of, these guys worked on it. Because of that, though, because they're the ones flat out making Wishmaster, they had free reign to do whatever they wanted. There are some really sick effects in this movie. From skeletons popping out of people to people randomly developing rapid growing cancer cells on their skin, to all kinds of weird stuff. And it is so over the top and so ridiculous and so much fun. The other thing notable about Wishmaster is that the cast rounds out to include a lot of horror movie icons. This film has Robert Englund from the Freddy films, Tony Todd from Candyman, Kane Hodder from the Jason films, and others. This was kind of set up to be like, we've got all the horror movie slashers that you all know and love together in one movie, and this genie, this djinn, is gonna fuck them up. The djinn is played by Andrew Divoff. Divoff plays the djinn in its demon form and in the human form that it takes about halfway through the film. And Divoff is perfect for this role. You might have seen him in some bit parts. He's the villain in a lot of things. He's also random terrorist and stuff in a lot of things. You can kind of spot him in movies like Air Force One or Low Down Dirty Shame. He does a lot of voices, and he very often plays international characters, which is, like I said, he also often plays terrorists and villains. He's just got one of those faces, I guess. Like I said, though, Divoff is perfect for this role. He's charming enough, but he's definitely menacing. He is one of those guys who, like, if he were to come up and talk to you, you would be drawn into the conversation, but you could probably pretty easily be manipulated by him. He is so good in the character at getting his victims to admit that they don't think they're perfect. As human beings, he loves manipulating human beings and pointing out their weaknesses and basically using that as an in and saying, well, what if I could change that for you? Wishmaster is one of my favorite horror films of the 90s. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 stars. I think that a lot of people probably know what Wishmaster is, but unfortunately I think a lot of people probably know it from the 3 crappy sequels that were made for it, which I'm refusing to review. And I also think that it's worth another shot. I think this is a movie that came out to really negative reviews, didn't make a whole lot of money, but that deserves another look. Well, that's my review of Wishmaster. Stay tuned, I got 2 more reviews coming that I'm posting later on today. Also, if there's a movie of any genre that you think doesn't get talked about a whole lot and that you would like to hear my opinion on, let me know in the comments section. I'll see what I can do about finding a copy of that movie and putting up a review for you. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Priceless B movies.